Today is still September 14th, 2023. Still have retards. Extremely low, mentally stupid people on purpose that fall for a drug scam. How many times does the cult have to laugh at the FBI? June 7th, 23. FBI agent John fell for the stun and tapes before. Oh, come on now. That FBI agent actually fell for it? You're kidding. It was only a stunt. Is that what's going on? John actually fell for it. FBI agent John actually fell for the stun on tapes before. Ha 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 ha. Is that what's going on? That's why they got away with it? Because FBI agent John fell for the stun on tapes before. Ha ha ha. June 7th, 23, Walmart 62, 10:11 o'clock in the morning. By the front bathroom, they tape an audio through the whole store. They sold videos of them mocking the feds. Then November 18th, 22, they still have it. Walmart 62, 2 to 6 p.m. One of the drug dealers, Eric, comes in. All the tapes before were me and not her. It was my idea to come up with it, my idea to say it, my idea to do it. For all these people to know, they felt, there's only you I could take care of. I know it's that bad. And they still fell for it. Then June 30th, he's the life of the party. How he made fools out of all these people for falling for it. They're just a bunch of fools. Retards. Very, very, very stupid, ignorant people. Today, September 14th, 23, I'm up in Akron. This one guy shows up, and where the construction workers last week were talking, it was a mean teenage stunt what they did to her before. A really mean one. But what really makes it not funny is they raped her. Okay? Well, a guy showed up today and said, don't be saying anything to her. He was talking to him about some other things, and he said, you know the guy that did it to her? She's never met him. He said, then how did he do that? He said, I don't know. He said, but she's never even met him. And he needs to realize how not funny it is, what he did to her. Because his daughter and her ex-husband didn't even work out, and they broke up a while ago. And he needs to realize how not funny it is what he did. Okay, then I drive through Hartville onto another shift. Okay, stop and get some hot tea, Diet Coke too, and I go through an example. My coworker Dar, she had a set of twins. One had died. She was grieving really hard, and her friends talked her into getting a babysitter, take her out. Okay, and she, as a friend's night out, so she went out with them. Okay. They said she went to take a drink out of a drink at the bar. She started acting a little happy. Not all the usual, just normal, okay? Just sat there talking normal to people, okay? Eventually, a group of people they didn't know walked up and started talking to her. She was fine. She eventually left with them. They didn't think anything about it because she was fine. She found herself in a puddle of pee. Got herself home, throwing up dizzy, could hardly sit up. Sound familiar? 2 months later, she went to the doctor. She found out she was pregnant again. She's like, how could I be pregnant? I have not had sex with anyone. And she said, it's not that I don't love my son, but after that baby died, I never wanted another baby again. My neighbor, Mike, came up to me about a little over a year ago. Said, I got a problem. I said, what's that? He's like, I don't know how I got home. I'm like, go sleep it off. He's like, you don't understand. I've been sitting there for hours. I don't know how I got home. I said, well, what do you remember? The second beer. And I said, just go sleep it off. He's like, I got a worse problem. I got $80 in my pocket. I'm like, well, check your bank. And he got on his phone and he looked it up. Okay. He's like, well, I took 100 out. What was in the box with mustard? And how did I change my shoes? I'm like, oh my God, they riffied him. He better go sleep it off. Okay. Okay. So he looked at me and said, you're pretty. And I used to be a New York cop. I said, you really need to go sleep it off. Okay? He told me he was really sick the next day. Sound familiar? He went back down to that bar and he found out he told everybody he was an astronaut, nice to some people, and told everybody else to have off. Drove around high all night. He didn't even know he did that, and he didn't know he told me he was a New York cop. I want you to think of that. How not funny is this? They had amnesia drugs back in the 1960s, okay? LSD, other hallucinating drugs that wipe out your memory. Hippies used them and occults used them to brainwash people. They have refined them over the last 60 years. They even have got to the point, it's called needling somebody. That's what they did to me. I looked it up and they do it in nightclubs in bigger cities. They put the date rape drugs in amnesia drugs in an injection, walk up and jab you. It takes less than 60 seconds and you're under somebody else's control. I went and talked to different officers about it. They said those amnesia drugs are so bad, they could have drugged up somebody and told them take down the towers. And they did it and killed all those people. You're under somebody else's control. I have talked to officers, other officers about it, and they said those amnesia drugs are so bad, they control you. And you have no memory of anything. They're fake sodium pentothal reports. Sodium pentothal is a lethal outlawed drug that you actually lie under. You will admit to Pearl Harbor, all kinds of crimes, and it's been outlawed in the country for years and is considered spy flick movie stuff. They have just used people's low IQs, and it's the drug dealers that are human trafficking people, scamming people. See, that's where where I called the FBI hotline, and then they drugged me up so bad I couldn't get up for a few days, and then, third day I made myself get up and I'm holding my head. I'm like, what's wrong with me? They had drugged the hell out of me. I didn't know. It's like I feel like I'm drunk and I don't drink. What's wrong with me? I got to get air in my face. Start mowing the lawn, trying to get enough air in my face. Halfway through, I thought of Sarah. I already gave her information to the hotline. And I call her, of course, it's getting darker and scarier the way she's talking about it, where Katie was leaving threats in the mall. And I go out and I buy her, she said, of course I'll witness for you. I buy her a card, put at that agent's number where he left it in a voicemail. And he called him back yet. Go down and make an excuse. Dave takes me down the mall. We drop it off. Her manager puts it in her locker. We go up to Apostolic Church of Barberton. Paul Pamer got in Dave's face. My God, I had an FBI agent in my office. He's right there. It was verified by officers. It was an agent that called me back. Dave told Nanny he talked to him. Okay? I walk off. Women walk up. He knows she's being drugged, beaten, raped. Said he doesn't care. I walk off. I sit down, they come in and say it again and said, if you're going to be thinking she's sick and thinking she got well with that family was leaving, he didn't care. It was a medication error, and Strange made up that lie so his friend could cheat and those idiots would go along with it because they're godless people. Godless people. The so-called godly Christian people allow open adultery, hire the drug cartel to have somebody drug beaten, raped. Yeah, they're godless people. Godless people. Jim Jones will call. Think about that. All right. So Dave comes in, let's go. Or before they come in and they say that, and he said he wasn't going to help her. He was going to turn her right back over to him. Can you imagine an agent saying that? Dave comes in, let's go. And we get out in the vehicle. He threatens my life that he's going to kill me himself. Swings at me in the truck tire. I almost jumped down the highway. I run from him when I get home. When the next morning, I called that agent back. Rivers of tears. I'm scared of mine. I had 4 attempts on my life. The people are showing back up here, and I'm scared to death. Okay? And I tell him about someone telling on me the night before. He calls me a liar. It was verified. It was him. Okay? He didn't want the name of the church. He didn't want to call and find out who was up there. He just called me a liar because it was him. Like the officer said. I tell him about the guy that threatened to knife me at Huntington Bank or Giant Eagle. He said, was there a camera over the bench? I don't know. You say you're lying, I'll arrest you. I said, well, he tried to kidnap me before. Terry seen him and let me tape her with her permission. He is a known serial killer and a known for being in the human traffickers. And I'm describing him, and he's calling me a liar. That's who he let go. Okay? And he's like, was there he calls me a liar when I try to tell him that he tried to kidnap me before. And Terry let me tape her with her permission. He killed Lori's family member, went on to take Marlisa's niece. And the authorities know what he looks like. That man's letting a serial killer go. That's how not funny it is. And I tell him, what did he's like, was there a camera above the bench or not? And I said, I don't know. He said, you either say you're lying or arrest you. And I'm like, fine, whatever. And he said, he bullies me into more false statements. Then he said, why would the FBI help a person like you? I said, because they've tried to kill me. So? Well, I said, they're going to try to kill me. So? Give me a real reason. Well, he yells out, some other guy yells out, well, they could use Pete's tape of weed with yourself. And he starts giggling. Stop, you don't know. I don't even know who Pete is. And that's disgusting. I said, what are you talking about? So he yells out something else again about Pete. I've never met Pete. I still haven't met him. Okay? He yells out again. And he starts giggling. Stop. She don't know. Why? Because it's a shower scene in the other room, and it's a drug confession. That's why. I've never talked to him. Okay? And he said, give me a real reason. Well, my brother-in-law was a private consultant for the FBI, unrestricted war weapons, worked under Dick Cheney. That makes him, and he's traveled the world. That makes him CIA. But he said, well, I can move you out, but I'll just leave you somewhere. You'll sign off everything. I said, I don't have any money saved up. I'll be homeless. Well, I guess I could list you informant. He said, it comes with $5,000 a month. I'm going to open up the account today. You'll have that money to live on when you move out. He said, and I'll make sure no man touches you, and I'll pull you out if it gets too bad, and you'll have a life of peace as an informant. Nothing legally stated, dated against you again, and only for you what they do for. Or just put it back as if it never happened, even when you tell him you have that money to live on. Then he flip-flopped. Okay? All right. Like my friend from the prosecutor's office, he can't even ask you to stay quiet. He don't have that kind of authority. He's just higher law enforcement. He was bullying you to get away with that. No sitting judge would sign that court order because the Department of Justice would put him in jail. And he can't bully you into false statements either. The only thing legal he did was list you informant with immunity and money. As far as the FBI, they can never legally drop you. They can put you in another witness protection program, but the Department of Justice would put them in jail if they tried. And they owe you that money if you work 5 minutes of the case, an hour a case, or years of the case. They owe you for the rest of your life for putting your life at risk. Now, he said, and they can't ever let you go, and he can't put a restriction on this, and no sitting judge would ever sign that because they'd be signing their own arrest warrant. Okay? And that's where I talked to Officer Reinhardt in Louisville. He said, until that agent took your statement and agreed to protect you, the FBI would even go to jail for being in your home outside a protected light case with statements. It's entrapment. He said they can say whatever they want, what they said they did, and what they have. Even if they had something on somebody, nobody could ever look at it because it's illegal to be in somebody's home no matter what, but protected light cases with statements. It's the Fourth Amendment. The right of the people to be safe and secure within your own person. Your places, your papers, and effects against all unreasonable searches or seizures shall not be violated. Your home can't be violated. Some retired judge, which is no longer a judge, okay, And he's retired. He has no title anymore. He's retired. Okay? For his baby girl, him and his drug friends go in and kick in the door, start stalking the wife, then drug her up and tell her to say something stupid, leave her covered with bruises and infected and human trafficker. And he can't Photoshop a shower scene and get away with it. He should have been nailed to that agent's desk the first day and got RICO charges. I went to the Portage County Sheriff, same thing, and the Ravenna Police, and they knew nothing what these people did, and what these people did is illegal. But with my coworker Dar, where those agents were laughing at me for being human trafficked and scammed under drugs, they were laughing at me. It'd be like them calling up Dar, and let's just say the guy's name's Bob. Hey, we could use Bob's "We're with yourself," and she's like, "Who's Bob? What are you talking about?" Well, when they date rape drugged you and they took you, they could have told me to do something that disgusting under drugs and I wouldn't have known it and waited and photoshopped it later. I said that in Hartville. People scattered because of reality of what they did, what they could have done. But yeah, they could have done that to her. They could have said, "Hey, do you know when they drugged you and they took you and raped you, they told you to say you're a weirdo? They did what? You arrest him." "No, we just called to laugh at you." Ha 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 ha. It's that sick. Them laughing at me for a man I've never met. See, that's where that guy was out there. She's never even met the man that did it to her. He said, then how did he do it? See, that's the whole thing of it is date rape drugs. You're sleepwalking. Just like Mike didn't know. He told me he was a New York cop and he was acting fine when he got to me, a little confused. But see, that's where, like I was, I don't know what's wrong with me. I went into the Altman Family Physicians. I got all these. I had bruises, orange, lemon, and grapefruit all over me. I have a pounding headache, dizzy, almost passing out, throwing up, and a severe swollen personal infection. Couldn't hardly pee. It's like, what's wrong with me? And they kept happening and happening. And they're like, did you fall? And I said, no, and I don't even know where all these marks are coming from. I kept thinking, if that idiot's beating me, why am I not waking up? Here he was human trafficking me out of my own home under drugs. Okay? So I wouldn't know what they were doing. Do you realize how big of a bitch move that is? Where those construction workers said, it was a mean teenage stunt what they did to her, drugging me up and telling me to say stuff, photoshopping things. But you realize they could have, when they drugged me up and told me to say stuff, their fake sodium pentothal reports, the amnesia date rape drugs, they could have told me to do something. I never talked to these people. I don't know what they did to me. But they could have told me to do something and then waited and photoshopped it later. But like that guy said, don't say a word to her. None of this is funny. She's never even met the guy that did it to her. Exactly. And he needs to realize how not funny this is. Doing all this for his daughter, and then her and her ex-husband, that his daughter and her ex-husband didn't even work out. And he did all these things to her. He needs to realize how not funny it is. He needs to learn it in life in federal. And these stupid drug dealers are down here, human trafficking, running a scam off an FBI case. Those agents opened a case with statements, had an officer talk to Dave by September 27th, 18th. So by the 18th, or September 27th, 2018 is when I talked to him. So September 28th, 2018, it should be when the case started. Officer got back from talking today. Do you realize, I was talking to somebody who has a friend that worked at headquarters too. And said, do you realize it takes 2 of them to sign off and verify you got your money? They were in it together. Stealing informant money. How many other people did they steal from? They've stole $295,000 from my case alone. See, that's where And they fed me to a drug cartel. Fed me to a drug cartel. I want you to think of that. And left me in hell. And just let the case run. And the drug traders that were human trafficking people impersonated federal officers and ran scams and human trafficked and drug trade down here. And a lot of people have been taken and killed. And as if an FBI agent didn't know about roofies. Because he told Apostolic Church of Barberton he knew I was being drugged, beaten, raped. And he was blaming the Vegas why he was leaving me up there. That was Strange's lie. So Dave could cheat. I found out right before the case. He made it up so Dave could cheat. I couldn't figure out why he was lying like that. But he lied on everybody, like Dave White, blasting God, tried to kill himself, and all he did is switch churches. He lied on everybody. Like he said, he owned the building. He ruled that place with lies and fears. See, that's where all the police, what these people did is illegal. That's why they mock all these idiots for falling for it. You know, I have sheriff friends, and I have other friends that are officers out of this area. And they're like, are your local police slow? Everything's digital. They can Photoshop from your words to scenes. I have a friend that he said he has a friend that has a laptop. He said he could put that shower scene in the other room real easy. It's clicking and pasting. And I had another friend that his friend worked at Facebook. He said, you know, they can take like as if I'd be a car thief and put I and then car thief and then take other words out of other sentence and then make a whole new sentence and then tape over it. Everything's digital. It's not actually like clips together. It's actually digital frames that can be altered at anything. And there's apps for that. Anybody with any kind of computer technology, now I don't know how to do it, but anybody with any kind of technology training, they could do it easy. That's where my one friend that was a sheriff, he's like, nothing's been trustworthy for years and everything's digital, and then went through that same thing. These people have admitted to framing me March 24th, 22. They already admitted May 12th, 22. They found a tape of them admitting a shower scene in the other room. May 26th, 22. Shower scene was done on purpose. Then December 9th, 21. At the Oakland apartment, the guy at the Hunger Task Force that everything was drugged and photoshopped. My client in Navarre, February and March of 22, retired Judge Pete ordered everything to be drugged in Photoshop. May 25th, 21, 6 p.m. Wendy's in Louisville, being drugged and told to say it before 8/9/21. The apartment building forming second close offense. The lady and little girls were talking about it. 4 or 5 neighbors told the police. November 2nd or 3rd, 21, the African American lady in Save-A-Lot, that everything was them and not me. March 24th, 22, 1:30, they framed me before. November 18th, 22, Walmart 62, Eric, one of the drug dealers, confesses everything was him and not me, and it was done for us, not for everyone, to turn on me, and they actually fell for it. June 30th, 23, he went to a party and laughed at everybody, how he made fools out of everybody for falling for this. And June 7th, 23, they make fun of FBI agent John for falling for the Donna tapes of Fort Lighthouse Tabernacle, mock the feds. He actually fell for it. FBI agent John actually fell for the Donna tapes before. Ha 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 ha. You know what I thought? SWAT teams, right? You're going to get them now. Then nothing. July 9th, 23, in Trinity Gospel, the women right behind me and my client, admitted to selling the login, making a ton of money, and dared the FBI to fix it. They wouldn't dare fix this. I thought, SWAT teams, right? Then nothing. People have asked me, is your local FBI afraid of them? They already got their confession. I've heard sheriffs talk about no one's to say a word to her. They made fun of that guy for falling for it. But then how could you? Because everything's digital. And if the police would have done it, it would have, or the FBI, it would have been entrapment. And it's stalking tapes. They're Peking Tom tapes done by the drug cartel running a big drug scam. So how could you fall for crackhead tapes? That's why they mocked him. A few Thursdays back, I was in Akron. A couple walks by and said, some of the drug dealers they hired to watch her, none of them even think any of this is funny. Did she do anything wrong? No. The drug dealers already confessed that they photoshopped everything on her. And it's not funny. The FBI. And they made fun of the FBI for falling for it. And the FBI left her up there. Huh? And I talked to her ex-husband. It was a medication error that made her sick before, and they did tell him to sue those doctors for making her so sick. And her ex-husband didn't tell anybody and let all those people hurt her. He didn't have a right to let him hurt me. When people start realizing just how mentally sick this is, see, where I even talked to one of my clients one time, she's like, do you realize how mentally ill Michelle is for them to even have them watch you? Let alone Photoshop or break in and drug and beat you like that? How mentally ill she is? Now, how could that agent look at them but that? And perpetrators, like they said, the FBI made fun of her for being human trafficked. And I was being scammed. I didn't even know who they were talking about. And they knew they were drugging me. And they knew everything's digital, and they know you sleepwalk. Because if the sheriffs know, and even regular people know about roofies, and they know about like LSD and all those other ones they've had around for 60 years. Huh? And those hallucinating ones that you don't remember in your sleepwalking. I'm going to go ahead and upload this. People need to stop being effing stupid. And stop being the butt of serial killers' jokes and that letting them use you for pawns. They're the human traffickers. Human traffickers take women and children for sex slaves and they kill them. They don't probably last a month or two. If they're that lucky, they may not even last a week. And they kill them and they go out and get more. And like my friend from the prosecutor's office, is a fraud scheme. Where they kicked in your door, they probably did set up button cameras. They probably did Photoshop that shower scene they all talk about. Where you had bruises you couldn't explain and all those symptoms. He said they probably were drugging you up and telling you to say something. They made a big mistake. They did it in your home. It's illegal to be in somebody's home, and it's illegal to look and listen. They made a big mistake, and it's a big fraud scheme, as if they could do any of this. I'm going to upload this.